All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is David Patrick Carey with Church of the Eternal Logos, and Christ is risen. Happy Pascha to all my ortho brothers and sisters out there. Hope you guys had a wonderful evening last night or early this morning at church. I know the Russians like to make sure they go a little bit longer, oftentimes till 7 in the morning, but glory to God. God has risen from the grave, trampling down death by death and bestowing life. So tonight, it's not going to be a topic on the resurrection per se. However, it's certainly something that's hot in our cultural topics at hand, and it has to do with sex magic and societal inversion, hitting at topics like Satanism, the recent videos of the Dalai Lama, and of course, Bud Light. And so tonight, I want to basically give a spiritual framework for how to interpret things that we're seeing in society. I'm not going to be breaking down the intricacies of sex magic. However, I will be articulating what it is, how it works. And when we look at some of the sexual chaos in our society, be it transgenderism, be it child puberty blockers, be it OnlyFans, all of this, I would say, is actually conducive to a massive ritual that is taking place right now, that is, one, to orchestrate more chaos, to lead people further into death itself. And this is why we see this sort of self-sabotaging over and over again by people who are invested in these worldviews. Ultimately, it is death, because ultimately it is sin. And so this video, I got an opening monologue that I want to hit with you guys, take care of a few announcements, and then I have tons of videos on Twitter and articles that I want to go to, basically expressing and emphasizing many of the talking points I want to hit at in this opening monologue. So to begin tonight's stream, what exactly is sex magic? Now, I'm sure you guys have heard about sex magic before. I've even talked previously. Hey, shout out to Sung Kim for becoming a member here on YouTube. Shout out to you, brother. God bless you. And thanks so much for gifting so many memberships. I truly do appreciate it. And he just gifted 5 more memberships. Oh my gosh. Shout out to Sung Kim. My gosh, brother. Thank you so very much. I truly do appreciate it, man. God bless you. So tonight, again, I'm going to say this stream may not be for everybody. So this stream, especially when we start getting into some of the videos that I want to share with you guys, this is not for kids. This is an adult conversation. This is a conversation. Again, we're going to be getting into very vulgar aspects of things that we're seeing in society. So this is not the most wholesome stream in the world. This is one in which, again, we are really going to be focusing on tackling what we see at hand. So what is sex magic to begin with? I'm talking about sex magic. What is it? Well, sex magic is really about the utilization of sex and sexual energies for the manifestation of personal desires and intentions. And so I've talked to you guys before about like sigil magic, creating symbols of desires, embedding, say, you know, it's my highest desire to earn another $2,000 this month or something of that nature. And then utilizing masturbation, which again, we're going to get into with Aleister Crowley. We're going to get into anal sex magic. We're going to get into heterosexual sex magic. Again, all of which the Dalai Lama, being a Tibetan Lama, Tibetan Buddhism is the tantric form of Buddhism. We'll get into what exactly tantrism is and tantric sex, but pedophilia, homosexuality, you know, various types of heterosexual sexual relationships. This is all common, par for the course in regards to Tibetan Buddhism. So when we see the Dalai Lama asking a little boy to suck his tongue, again, I hope to provide a framework and a background to make a little bit more sense of why that would be the case. Okay. So sex magic, whether it be tantric forms of sex magic, again, and when we say tantric, we're often thinking of Eastern mysticism, India, Buddhism, Hinduism, things like that. Well, that is true, but sex magic, as we're talking about, that goes all the way back to the Mesopotamian period, the ancient civilizations of the Near East. All of them had these weird rituals where they found that if you could, for them, sublimate sexual energy, one way is for semen retention. You all heard of the yogi, right? That does semen retention to try to drive the Kundalini energy, the spiritual energy up his spine to activate his crown chakra, which then is, again, we can see pictures of Shiva, the destroyer there in Hinduism, where his semen is sort of spewing out of the top of his head. Sex magic, whether it be tantric Eastern mysticism or Near Eastern rituals, it's all about attaining a desire. That desire may be to become enlightened. That desire may be to gain power. Really anything that you want. And I have articles, again, we're not going to read through them, but I'm going to show you of women literally talking about performing sex magic to attain their desires. So sex magic is one a form of manifestation magic. And so I'm going to be arguing that sex magic, in the way that it's being used in our society, is a way for the evil one to manifest a societal inversion of all that is good, true, and beautiful. And is going to be related to the inversion of God's uncreated energies, because sex magic and sexual energy is the strongest energy, if you will, on this side of creation, right? And that's why they want to manipulate sexual energies for the practice of manifestation. And so, tantric sex rituals, like I said, have an ancient and very long history, and it's all about using the fecundity to create life, right, of sex, but not creating actual life, not creating babies, not creating families. The point is to create and manifest one's desire. Again, the sublimation of sexual energies. So sexual energy then is really in a sort of weird opposition to uncreated energies, God's uncreated energies. Again, and what are these? For those listening who may not be Orthodox, that includes logic, truth, beauty, love, honor, glory, mercy, compassion, all these things that we believe are good and true, and beautiful, again, but you can't touch these, right? You can't touch these things. They're not like on your fingertips. They're not something you can go out in the world and you can touch truth. Well, you could when God incarnated, right? Jesus Christ. You can't go and touch honor. You can't go and touch compassion and mercy. Well, these things are uncreated energies of God. And the sexual energy is using energy to create a sort of revolution against all these categories. So sexual energy is being weaponized, I argue, against God's uncreated energies to invert, subvert, and basically reject God's presence in the world. Some of you guys may have seen that. It was going around on TikTok that if you put "I hate Jews," if I hate Muslims, I hate trans, I hate gays, all that stuff is blocked on TikTok. But if you put "I hate Christians," interestingly enough, that is permissible. Why is Christianity this religion that it seems like all the world religions are sort of unified, and yet pushing against, slamming against, demonizing? Well, I would say it's because it's true. And so sexual addiction, these sexual fetishes, I would argue homosexuality, pedophilia, whatever it be, bestiality. I have articles today where we're going to be looking about women actually engaging in bestiality. Just a couple of weeks ago, there was a girl in Mississippi that performed a disgusting sex. She filmed it. She filmed this having sex with like a German Shepherd in front of a church in Mississippi. And she was caught with, I'm not kidding. You think I'm saying this? You're like, what are you talking? This really happened. Again, and this is going to get into what I'm talking about in regards to this sex magic and this inversion of societal norms, of society itself. How are we to a place where not only a young girl would film herself having sex with a dog, do it in front of a church, and then post it online? Where are we at as a society? Well, again, I would argue this has to do with a larger demonic ritual at hand. And from an Orthodox perspective, the engaging in aberrant forms of sexuality, mutilating one's body through these transition surgeries, this is an opening to the demonic realm. And I'm going to have videos that I'm going to make the case that these people are possessed. And that what we're seeing, the sort of sexual freedom in our society, is really causing a sort of black magic vortex that is pulling our society into this egregious state where everything that we believe is good is being inverted. And if you speak out against it, you're going to see the wrath of demonic activity. Obviously, we saw the Nashville shooting, and then we saw how the system that is the beast system continually provide lip service and defend the aggressor in that instance, and not the Christians that were killed. No. It always goes back to taking away guns and then promoting again the trans because they're under attack. Don't you know they're going to be eradicated from the planet, we're told. Well, again, as I get to the end of this opening monologue, I'm going to argue that what that is that the demons that are being manifested and possessing people through these activities, they're really upset that if these activities cease, that their ability to possess people is coming to an end. And that's really the war the mass chaos, the mass murder of these trans people. It's really about a demonic reality. And so don't look at any one person. If you have these people in your lives, show them love and compassion. Don't hate them. I argue that a lot of this is really a spiritual reality of possession. And again, our belief systems, Orthodox Christianity would say the things that you believe can possess you. And that what are the ideas you believe in? They can be another conduit to demonic possession because it all begins in your imagination. Your imagination is where demonic possession and contact first begins. So this sexual addiction that we're seeing of whether it be OnlyFans, whether it be these weird kinky forms of pornography. I have an article as well that shows that heterosexual men who watch pornography regularly move from whether they be against homosexuality or not, if they're again heterosexuals. So if these straight men watch pornography, their views towards these more transgressive forms of sexuality become more normalized. Again, I would say this is all part of a massive ritual, a spiritual ritual. And so these sexual addictions and fetishes are the driving force energetically behind a revolution against all that is holy. This is a sort of black magic vortex that's pulling everything in one direction. And so you don't even have to engage in some of these acts. If you just support them, right? You only have to accept it because, again, ideological possession is another form of spiritual possession. So you just have to condone what's going on. You just have to say, oh my gosh, not allowing kids to have puberty blockers at the age of 3. This is murder. Again, totally irrational. Makes no sense. This is not reality, right? But it doesn't matter. The war is actually against reality because the war is against God. God created the world. Creation is real, and what we're being inundated in is a fantasy. It's an alternate universe. It's an alternate understanding of reality where men and women, oh, they're the same thing. Men, oh, don't you know men can give birth? Don't you know Dylan Mulvaney? He uses tampons. Where's he put it? Another story. But we see these dissolution of boundaries. Again, just look at a statue of Baphomet, which I'm going to show you guys. A female-breasted, male, human, half goat hybrid pointing up and down because it's both and. It's always the transgression of dichotomies to this weird amalgamating demonic force, smushing these things together. And so this is a revolution, and this is pulling all of our society because if you accept that men give birth, what will you not accept? Where will you draw the line? You see, there is no line to be drawn anymore. Transgenderism is the Trojan horse, if you will, that is bringing our society and getting people to believe in a fantastic alternate reality that doesn't exist. It's only in the minds of the people who adopt it. It's only in those who are becoming possessed by this reality, false reality, right? And so it's really a sort of sex magic of death. When we think of sex, again, Christianity is not against sex. We believe sex is a wonderful thing. It creates life. It's about the relationship between men and women, husbands and wives, creating nuclear families, which are reflections of the kingdom of God and our relationship to God, right? And so what have we seen recently? I think there was, what was it, a Washington Post or New York Times article talking about how parental rights are an endangerment to children, and it's an endangerment to climate change, and it's an endangerment to children's rights. Well, we just saw that the state of Washington just passed a bill that if you don't affirm your child's transition, well, the state will come and take your child from you. You think I'm kidding, and I'm not. I'm not, because evil is always attacking the women and the children. And Rachel Wilson, the great Rachel Wilson, will be on Tuesday because we're going to be talking about the erasure of traditional women. This whole thing about Riley Gaines, right? The female swimmer from Kentucky competing against Leah Thompson, the dude, a man who dominates female swimming. This isn't about equality. Imagine, again, this is the people that are possessed by this alternate reality. It's equality for men to dominate women in sports. I got another thing of a guy named Fallon Fox, another transgender who is an MMA fighter. The dude literally cracks women's skulls open in the name of equality. This is demonic because Satan is always going after the women and the children. Who did he go after first in the garden? He went after Eve. He went after Eve, but we didn't fall when Eve ate the apple. We fell when Adam listened to Eve and did what she said and transgressed God. So this whole reality then is about men standing up and following God. And that's going to be the initial barrier to prevent this whole thing from, going much further than it is. But of course, if we're moving towards the end times, it is going to get worse and worse and worse. So it's a sex cult of death because the sex that they engage in isn't about life creation. It isn't about nuclear families. It isn't about husbands and wives. It's about homosexuality. It's about transgenderism. It's about puberty blockers, right? I just saw a video, and I don't have one to show you guys today, but of this poor guy that his parents were really woke, and they put him on puberty blockers. Again, he was male before he could go through puberty, and he therefore maintained sort of feminized facial features, bodily features, stuff like that. His balls never dropped. He can't have children. He's now sexually sterile for the rest of his life. Because why? This sex magic isn't about the fecundity of life. It's about the fecundity of your own desires, which is really about a fecundity of one's own self-worship, which is why it's called Pride Month. What are you proud about? Remember, again, as Orthodox, pride is what separates us from God. Humility is what allows us to submit to God. And we submit to God to engage in these uncreated energies, to see what is true, to engage in love, to engage in mercy and compassion. You have to submit to the reality of God. And what we're up against is a prideful, sexual, magical ritual that is getting people to not submit to the reality of God, but create a false reality, an alternate reality. And it's in a reality of a death cult. Look at the suicide rates, which we'll look at. One of the attempted suicides, not even thoughts about suicide, attempted suicides from youth. I'm talking about, these were like, I have an article, these were people under the age of 30, I believe, was like 42%. 42% of people under the age of 30 who are trans already have tried to commit suicide. Why? Because this is about sin, and sin equals death. Because these uncreated energies of God, not the sexual energies inversion that we're up against, but the uncreated energy, the more you engage in what is true, the more you engage in what is logical, the more you engage in what is true and beautiful, you can become more like God. This is what salvation is. This is theosis. This is how you don't die when you die, because you're filled with energies that are uncreated. They exist before creation. And so this whole alternate worldview is literally about killing yourself, because the demons, they're already dead. They committed their atrocity inside eternity. Satan already knows where he's going. And that's why this is about Satanism, not just in a Western worldview. No, Satanism in regards to a total inversion of everything that is good. I don't care if the Dalai Lama is Christian or not. Him, and we're going to look at some of the tantric rituals they engage in. I mean, there's rituals where the Dalai Lama is supposed to, like, there different ages of women are supposed to be brought in. It goes down to like age 8. Little girls, 8-year-old girls are supposed to come in. The Dalai Lama is supposed to have sexual rituals with them. And this has to do with Tibetan Buddhism. This is tied to the very central core of what that religion is, because it's built on tantric practices. Tantrism, the left-handed path. What we would argue is the satanic path. As Christians, we describe the left-handed path as Satanism. That's what it is. That's what it is. So, this death cult, this sex of death, is an important part, is that sex is always going to be sterile, but incredibly pleasurable. So it's about stimulating sexual intercourse and desires to increase one's perceived pleasure, if you will. And that then is going to lead to, a better relation, a more open world, right? And so, as I said, gay, trans, puberty blockers, birth control. Birth control is another one, guys. We're Christians. If you're Orthodox, if you're Catholic, we don't have, we're not promoters of birth control, because one, we shouldn't be having sex until we're married. Once you are married, you have sex and you do it unprotected. And if it's God's will for you guys to get pregnant and have babies, then so be it. God is in control of who lives and who dies. But the next part of this sexual ritual then is abortion. And there's two religions that said that abortion was central to their practices. One has to do with a group of people I shall remain nameless. You can figure that out. And the other one's the Church of Satan. They literally talk about ritualistic abortion as central to their religion. I kid you not. And so these sexual inversions allow demonic possession. If you are engaging in, again, gay sex, gay orgies, transgenderism, you're cutting your breast off, you're mutilating your own genitals, this is a way for demons to possess you. And I got multiple videos that I'm going to give you guys. Do you view them as possessed? I'm going to show you. Do you think these people are possessed? Do you think they're fully human? Do you think they're in touch with the real God? I would say they're not. Just the fact that they refer to themselves as they, them, right, is a plurality. Legion literally identifies itself as a plurality. And we look at, I don't follow Mr. Beast, but I've seen the whole thing with like his right-hand man or something named Chris left literally a beautiful wife and son, married, a family, to then be a hideous, monstrous man who wears a dress. And the majority of Mr. Beast audience is children. It's children. And so this demonic agenda is about getting the children possessed, both ideologically, but then spiritually, because they go hand in hand. And if they can get your kids to identify as whatever they identify as, furries, if you will, all this stuff is about an inversion. It's all about a sort of taking away the soul from each person. We're all being tested right now. And I'm going to get to this when I get to corporate personhood, which is a real thing. Corporations are perceived legally as persons, and how that is an inversion of our own theology of personhood as Orthodox Christians, and how the ESG scores of corporations is a test for will you worship mammon or not. It's a test for will you worship mammon or not. And we're all being tested right now, whether we will or not. So this is serious, and we kill ourselves through our sins. This is another thing about how this all relates to God is always waiting to forgive us, right? Whether you're addicted to one sort of weird sexual fetish or not, again, you could be a lifelong homosexual. You can choose to stop in one day. I'm not saying you won't have what attractions you get. I don't understand that. I don't relate to that. So I don't know what that lived experience is like. But God will always forgive, because our understanding of evil as Orthodox Christians is not that this dualistic worldview. God is always waiting to forgive you because you are killing yourself. You're condemning your own soul to hell. You're condemning your own separation from God. Again, separation begins with Pride Month, being proud of these sexual identities, making these sexual fetishes your sole identity, not your identity with God, which is your true identity. And so these sexual inversions, these demonic possessions, they are killing people spiritually, which is leading to this incredibly high suicide rate. But it's also contributing to people wanting to kill others. I have a video that was kind of making its rounds around Twitter today, and it comes from, I believe, Australia, of a man who identified as a girl trying to date other girl, a lesbian, right? And he got upset because the girl was upset. Again, the lesbian was upset that he wasn't a real girl on a dating app. And so he took an axe to a convenience store and literally tries to murder two people. And he said that he had voices in his head telling him to kill people and cause chaos. This is demonic possession. This only occurs by ingratiating yourself and participating in this inverted reality. And so Pride Month, as I said, equals pride is what separates you from God. And they're worshiping their own desires. Sexual magic, sex magic, is about the manifestation of one's desires. But you see, this energetic exchange always leads to something very nefarious and something that is not beneficial to your spiritual well-being. This is something that kills you, literally. It is killing you. And so this is all part of this spiritual death cult. It really is a spiritual death cult. And the thing that connects everybody is the okaying of these aberrant forms of sexuality. It may just be that you like to watch weird forms of anime porn. But I guarantee you that if you're into watching weird forms of anime porn, you're going to be okay with all this other stuff, right? Something just happened with Ali Alexander and the whole America First movement is that they have a gay pedophile in their movement, and they've been very slow to retract that. Well, how can you be pro-Christian and be okay with homosexuals and pedophiles? You can't. You can't be Christian and really be okay with any of this stuff, because if you are, you're going to be okay for it to get worse and greater and further. And that's where, again, I'm going to show you guys about bestiality. You think I'm crazy? I'm not. I have a video of a girl. I'm not kidding. Attractive girl talking about, a girl asked her, hey, have you ever cheated before? Yeah, I've cheated, but not with another human. And they're like, what? Yeah, she got caught cheating on her boyfriend with her boyfriend's golden retriever. She got in the doggy position and allowed the dog. I'm not kidding. Again, that's why I said this stream is not for children. This is an adult stream. There are going to be maybe some egregious things that we're going to discuss today. This is demonic. This is demonic possession. This is destroying your soul. I talked about, again, in Rome, bestiality, women, fornicating with animals and stuff in public in the Colosseum. This was halftime shows. Leopards and lions taught and trained to fornicate with women and men. This is pure evil. This is pure degeneracy. This is present right now in our society, and it's being attempted to be normalized along with pedophilia. It's here. And so this is all part of a spiritual death cult, and accepting it is accepting a fantasy. Again, the idea that Riley Gaines, I have a video of Riley Gaines, the UK swimmer, that she was at San Francisco University, and we all know that she got locked up. She was in a room for like 3 hours because the trans students were trying to attack her and beat her, and she did get hit a few times. But what I want to show you and focus on the most is what their chant is. The whole chant of the trans people while they're trying to beat her is that trans women are women. Trans women are not women. This is a conflation of categories. This is an alternate reality. You see, buying into this stuff is buying into relativism, which is the death of truth. Now, we know that truth is a who, not a what. And so this is a total denial of God, because these people are their own gods. Satan is his own god, and that's why they're all leading to the same self-destruction. Now, I want to tie this into corporations. This is where the whole Bud Light thing comes in with its sponsorship with Dylan Mulvaney. I'm sure all of you guys are aware now at this point that Bud Light has basically attempted to self-sabotage its own brand. Now, again, I'm no fan of Bud Light, but this partnership that they had based on the ESG, right? The environmental, social, and corporate governance thing. This is how the central banks and everything can give you tax breaks and incentivize you to make sure that you have interracial couples, which I'm sure you notice in about every single commercial of every single corporation. There's interracial couples. There's, LGBTQ people present. There's, every female product now has women that are obese, disgustingly overweight, to promote that it's beautiful. Well, being fat and obese isn't beautiful, you see, but it's part of buying into an alternate reality. You're celebrating somebody killing themselves by overconsumption gluttony. You're celebrating death, just like they're celebrating death through the puberty blockers, through the abortion, through the trans movement, whatever it is. This is a celebration of things that kill people. And so corporate personhood is a real thing. I don't know if you guys know that corporations are legally considered persons. Now, of course, they're not. They're, in a way, corpses. They're already dead entities. But this is where I argue that corporations and this ESG score and the constant promotion of global climate change and the LGBT whatever movement, what this is a test for mammon. Because the people that work for those companies, honestly, some of the stuff I've seen is the wealthy people that are in charge of these corporations. They don't even participate in the things that they promote, but they promote it because they get financially incentivized. Christ says you can't serve both God and mammon. And so the mammon, again, I did a stream with BLA on The Devil's Advocate. The whole basis of that movie is that the devil is constantly testing everybody to see what choices you will make. And so the boycott of Bud Light, again, insignificant to a degree, but also culturally significant to the idea that we are going to use our money and our money, our energy, financial energy exchange. That's what money and work is, to make sure we don't invest in these corporations that are incredibly transgressive. And so I thought it was so interesting that Donald Trump Jr. came out and told people to stop boycotting Bud Light. They donated 60% to the GOP and 40% to the DNC. They're not totally woke. What? Again, I didn't have a whole lot of respect for Donald Trump Jr. in the first place, but the fact that Donald Trump Jr. wants to talk about how it's wrong it's okay to create memes, is what he said. It's okay to create memes, but we got to stop boycotting Bud Light because they donate money. Dude, shut up. You're an idiot. He did a podcast with the Nelk Boys, which I didn't watch, but I caught a clip where he's basically oh yeah, I'm really liberal on the whole sexual issues. I think homosexuality is totally fine. I'm even okay with transgenderism. Just don't come after the children. Well, where's the line, bub? How can you say don't come after the children but you're okay with trans, you're okay with homosexuality, you're okay with all this different stuff? Where's your line? Oh, happy Easter, Christian. Dude, shut up. This is somebody who's already sold their soul to mammon. He's more concerned about the, Anheuser-Busch donating to the GOP than he is about values, than he is about what's true, than he is about what's right and wrong. The dude is already chosen mammon, right? That's what I'm talking about. That is mammon worship. That is not somebody who's trying to follow God. That's not somebody who's trying to do what's right. That's somebody that's trying to destroy. Well, he's not trying to destroy. He doesn't realize he's trying to destroy, but his values, the way he thinks, the way he focuses on money, that is a value set that is going to undermine and destroy our culture. It already is. And so which one are you going to make a deal with? Mammon or God? Because all this stuff is tied together. And I think we're all being tested. And, the Bud Light thing is fairly insignificant. That they made Dylan Mulvaney, this dude who's huge on TikTok, flamboyantly gay dude, grows his hair out. Now he's a woman. Nike has a dude sponsor sports bras. Tampax has a man sponsor tampons. This is an alternate reality. Don't you see that this is getting us to buy into a fantasy world? Just like the idea that Ukraine is dominating Russia in the Ukrainian war. This is another form of mammon worship, right? There's all these videos that were going around about how Zelensky, when he got elected president, which again, the U.S. started the whole coup in the earlier 2000s, Obama administration, 2014, very pivotal year in Ukraine. But Zelensky, when he got elected, he wants to unify the East Russian, Ukrainian, people in the Donbass region and all that with the, Ukrainian nationalists in the western part of Ukraine. Well, he didn't. And now we find out, like, again, through some of the documents that were leaked, they're skimming $400+ million have already been skimmed off by Zelensky and his sort of inner circle. And we saw, we all could tell that the dude was on coke all the time, but the way that he's always touching his nose and snorting. And then the video came out that there's a freaking pile of cocaine and a razor blade right there on his desk that he was snorting lines. This is a spiritual exchange. You see, I don't even think it's a coincidence that when Zelensky yesterday tried to make a video telling people Christ is risen, to try to recognize Pascha, he was wearing black. You don't wear black on Pascha. It's the opposite. You wear any color, but white. We celebrate with white because Christ is life. He's light. He is risen from the grave. And so I argue that all this stuff, this is a sexual, magical reality that is occurring. And it's whether you engage in it or not, if you're okay with it, you then are a catalyst for it. And that's where you got to make a choice. You can't be okay with, what people do in their bedrooms is okay, the whole libertarian shtick, and then say, oh my gosh, I can't believe the guys who are wearing G-strings in public and they're swinging their dicks around in front of children. Well, on what basis can you even say that it's not acceptable? Half of them say it's okay. It's disgusting. And this is about a sex cult of death and getting people to engage in these sterile forms of sexuality, to become addicted to these forms. And that's where the pornography comes in. Again, I got an article I'm going to show you. The more heterosexual men watch porn, the more they become accepting of these transgressive forms of sexuality. That's why we got to stop watching porn. That's why you got to find a wife. That's why you got to create families, because this is the only way that we move in opposition to this thing, is to bring everything in accordance with God's will, with moral understanding, with moral living. And so, anyways, everything I just said, we're going to address a little bit more here. So guys, smash that like if you can. I want to give a very special shout out to all these super chats. I've already seen a handful of super chats fly in. Shout out to Bone Man 538, throws in some very generous super chats already. And I'm going to give you a shout out here, but I want to take care of a few announcements real quick. So again, thank you guys all so much for being here. We got a great stream left. I got so many clips on Twitter, guys. It's going to blow your freaking mind. I'm not kidding. But I want to say we got a really great week this week. Tuesday, Rachel Wilson's going to be here, the great Rachel Wilson. We're going to be doing a stream on the erasing of women and men, traditional men, but particularly traditional women. Because at least traditional men, if they are traditional, they're going to fight. But traditional women, if they're traditional, they're not going to fight in the same regards. And so the obfuscation of traditional women, that's what we're going to be talking about with Rachel Wilson. And then the great Father Peter Heers is going to be here Wednesday to talk about an Orthodox perspective on transhumanism. That's going to be Wednesday evening. And then Friday, I'll be doing my stream on a deep dive into Rosicrucianism, the spiritual esoteric occult worldview of Rosicrucianism. What is it? Where did it come from? And how do we understand it? So that's going to be coming Friday night. So looking forward to that. Also, guys, I wanted to show you how you can best support me. One way to do so is through becoming a website member. And so I wanted to show you guys that, there's the education. Let me refresh that. If you guys could go to davidpatrickcarey.com/register, I'll put that right here in the video description, or the live chat, I'm sorry, that you can come through and you can select different types of memberships. We now have a lifetime membership to the website for $1,000. I know that's not for everybody. It's a big lump sum, but if you want to become a lifetime member, lifetime premium member, you'll always have access to all the content behind the paywall. You can do so now for $1,000. You can become a premium member, an annual purchase now. I've now offered these options. You can purchase annually, or you can go monthly. And that's for the basic $5 a month subscription, which will give you access to a whole list of videos, right? Here's the religion of Megan Fox. My review of the Northmen, Connor Murphy. And then I got a handful of videos that I also will be posting here on the website for members. I'm going to be really upping the members content. So I plan on posting a video at least every week. This week, I hope to put out 2 over on the website. So make sure you become a website and help me out there. Last one I did was Insanity and Demonic Possession and Patristic Thought. So if you want to have access to this, the Psychedelic Jesuit Caves, again, you become a member. You can click on these and watch these videos. This is on some of the art and psychedelic, even Disney frescoes in this weird cave in the Netherlands. So you can check all that stuff out. Also, if you guys would like to sponsor a stream, you can do so with this link right here. I would greatly appreciate that. And if anybody would like to sign up for a one-on-one session, you can do so with this link here. So God bless everybody. Blessed Pascha. Again, Christ has risen. Christ has risen. Glory to God for the defeating of death. And so I hope everybody had a wonderful Pascha last night. Now let's get into today's stream. So let me see here. Let me get that window pulled up. Here we go. Okay, so here's just an instance of Fallon Fox, the MMA. How many skulls has the under fire transgender MMA fighter been accused of breaking? Well, I got a video. I'm going to show you a few here in a moment. But to begin, again, I want to talk a little bit about what sex magic is. So again, sex magic is really about the manifestation of one's desires. It is any type of sexual activity used in a magical and ritualistic or otherwise religious and spiritual pursuits. One practice of sex magic is using sexual arousal or orgasm with visualization of a desired result. A premise posited by sex magician is the concept that sexual energy is the potent force that can be harnessed to transcend one's normally perceived reality. And so Pascal Beverly Randolph is going to be the most noteworthy individual that really gets this going. And he was greatly influenced by a guy named Hargrave Jennings. And his whole contribution was this idea of phallism. Phallicism. In several volumes, Jennings developed the theory that the origin of all religion is to be sought in phallic worship of the sun and fire. And so Blavatsky actually had some criticisms of him because she thought it was the unification of both genders, which I kind of agree with her as well. But I just wanted to highlight that, some of this sex magic and the sexual ritual stuff has to do with like how you can harness these sexual rituals for the manifestation of one's own desires. One of the most noteworthy people who, again, Pascal Beverly Randolph was really interested in heterosexual sex magic, but the person that really kicked off homosexual sex magic would be Aleister Crowley. And so Aleister Crowley was involved with Theodore Roos and Ordo Templiore Orientis following the publication of the Book of the Law. According to Crowley's account, he approached him and accused him of having revealed the innermost sexual secret of the OTO in a cryptic chapters of this book, again, the Book of Lies. When it became clear to Roos that Crowley had done so unintentionally, he initiated Crowley into the 9th degree of the OTO and appointed him Sovereign Grand Master. Now, Crowley was all about the magical power of you being sodomized by another man. Why? Again, I've talked about like ritualistic Satanism and how the transgression of boundaries is so important to their worldview, because if you can transgress boundaries and you can do so willingly, then you have your will isn't contained by any one limit. You can transgress the limits. This is viewed as a sense of empowerment for these people. And so that's why Crowley went on to develop masturbatory, autosexual, magical techniques were taught, referred to the lesser work of the soul. And again, that's where then the pornography comes in. What are you masturbating to? Because that is part of this whole chaos. This, again, what I talked about, this sexual magic that's going on in our society is sort of a black magic vortex of chaos. Well, every time you masturbate to weird things, anime porn, whatever it is, these transgressive, like the incestual stuff now that they're trying to put out, you are slowly contributing to this revolution, to this reality. And that's what the masturbatory porn was about. Heterosexual magic techniques. Again, you can look into the Kama Sutras of Hinduism. The Kama Sutra is all about manipulating sexual energy, having sex without orgasming, having sex and orgasming at the same time, all types of different stuff, different positions, different ways to have intercourse, all this types of stuff. So heterosexual sex, replete within tantric traditions, which again, I'm going to hint at in just a second here with tantric sex. But Aleister Crowley, again, what he really became noteworthy for in regards to sex magic was anal intercourse and magical techniques, which then empowered both the magician and the guy who's engaging in this stuff with. And so one of his quotes, according to Crowley, is, "Mankind must learn that the sexual instincts is ennobling. The shocking evils which we all deplore are principally due to the perversions produced by suppressions." You see the Freudian, again, Sigmund Freud and his whole psychoanalytics of sexual repression, and that the sexual repression is what then causes all these neuroses. Well, he's clearly working off that framework. And of course, Freud himself was a pervert. But that's where you get this rhetoric, and we see it in the LGBTQ movement, right? Oh, the fact that you're against trans kids, the fact that you're against, pansexuality or whatever, this is because you're bigoted. This is because you are inundated with these perversions of suppressions, as Crowley says, right? So this stuff isn't new. When you hear this rhetoric, this is old. This is par for the course in regards to this sex magic, in this, what I would argue is this sort of satanic relationship to sexual energy. The feeling that it's shameful and the sense of sin cause concealment, which is ignoble and internal conflict, which creates distortion, neurosis, and ends in explosion. We deliberately produce in absences and wonder why it's full of pus, why it hurts, why it bursts in stench and corruption. The book of the law solves the sexual problem completely. Each individual has an absolute right to satisfy his sexual instinct as is physiologically proper for him. The one injunction is to treat all such acts as sacraments. One should not eat as the brutes, but in order to enable one to do one's will. The same applies to sex. We must use every faculty to further the one object of our existence. Aha. Make sense? Make a little bit of sense when you hear the rhetoric of some of the LGBTQ people seems almost religious, right? Almost like Crowley's laying out of how this is a sacrament, right? And it really is. Why are the corporations, why are the powers that be so obsessed with promoting this stuff and pushing it in our face? Remember, I thought in 2014 they just wanted to get married. That was less than 10 years ago. Less than 10 years ago, we didn't even have same-sex marriage federally. Now they're literally taking your children from you if you don't put them on puberty blockers. How did we get here? It's because it is a sacrament. It's a sacrament of this sort of satanic societal inversion. And my point then in tying to tantric sex is this is nothing new. These aberrant forms of sexuality have a long, long history. And as we've seen recently with Tibetan Buddhism, with the Dalai Lama, anybody who's dove into Tibetan Buddhism knows that Tibetan Buddhism is a tantric form of Buddhism. Tantrism comes from you could say Hinduism, but these various spiritual forms that develop in the Indian subcontinent. And in there, they look at this left-handed path. How you can, again, the right-handed path comes from the idea that you wipe your butt with your left hand because you shake people's hands with your right hand. And this has to do with moral structured society, that there's right and wrongs and that you have to move through the world in a certain way. And then you eventually become a householder. Then you become an ascetic. You renounce your family. You become the yogi in the woods and people give you food. And now you can use your yoga or various yoking methods to attain enlightenment. Well, the left-handed path is like, well, we can just take a shortcut. And so the left-handed path, why it's called the left-handed path, is because they would wipe their butt with their right hand and they would shake people's hands with their left hand. They do everything in inversion, what we would call Satanism. And this has to do with human sacrifice, weird uses of like excretion, urine, fecal matter, period blood, semen, stuff like this. Group rituals for sex, all types of things, right, can be tied to tantrism. And so I just want to show you a few things that the Kalachakra Tantra of the 11th century in Tibetan Buddhist tradition is divided into 15 stages. 7 are public and ceremonial, while the remaining 8 contain practices of sexual yoga and are kept secret, being reserved for a handful of initiates. The master officiant becomes symbolically an androgynous being. Oh, that sounds familiar. Who is both Kalachakra and Vishvamata, male and female. Among the 8 higher stages, the first of the apprentice must bring the Lama, the Dalai Lama, a young woman of 10, 12, 16, or 20 years of age. In the 8th, the woman is touched on the breast in the sexual manner to stimulate the apprentice, during which the latter must avoid ejaculation. My point in just bringing all this stuff up is if you start going into Tibetan Buddhism and these tantric forms of Buddhism, Tibet has all types of weird sexual rituals. This is one of the reasons why the Nazis were so interested in Tibet. Why in Indiana Jones, right? Why are the Nazis in Tibet? Why are they there? Well, it has to do with these practices, because the Nazis believed that these practices, these sexual practices, which can also be found in Kabbalah, they believed that they pre-existed the Jews obtaining them and creating the sort of Kabbalistic practices that may relate to sexuality, homosexuality, weird sexual rituals or whatnot. They claim that the Aryans had it first. and that the people who still maintain the Aryan understanding of these secret esoteric occult uses of sexuality was Tibetan Buddhism, because of the Bon tradition, the Bon shamanic tradition that is indigenous there to Tibet. And so that's why, looking into some of this stuff, you'll find really atrocious stuff. Like, again, the Dalai Lama sleeping with young boys, not uncommon. Makes sense then when we go forward, and I got videos around here somewhere. I got so many of them. When we start looking at the Dalai Lama, the current Dalai Lama, asking a young boy to suck his tongue. Why? Well, that's not uncommon. That it's not crazy at all. So anyways, moving on here. So again, you can look at this. I just wanted to talk about unleashing the beast, right? This is something that Aleister Crowley talked about, that these sexual rituals would unleash the beast system. Again, we're moving towards the end times. How close we're there, I don't know. That's for the Orthodox Church to discuss. But he believed these homosexual rituals would unleash the beast. And so if we go through here and we just do a keyword for homo, we could see Crowley made explicit the use of the most deviant sexual acts, such as masturbation and homosexuality, as central components of his magical practice. At the same time, Crowley was also one of the first Western authors to take an interest in Hindu and Buddhist traditions of Tantra, a highly esoteric body of teachings and center in part around the use of sexual energy as a source of spiritual power, which had long been criticized by European Orientalist scholars and Christian missionaries as the very worst and most perverse confusion of sexuality and religion. Wow. Interesting. So people, before they were exposed to this transgressive boundary dissolution, which we see in our society, European Orientalists growing up again with the norms, the societal norms of Christianity, found it the very worst and most perverse confusion of sexuality and religion. Interesting. Go down here. Yet Crowley would also push this discourse about sexuality in a good deal further than most of his contemporaries would have dared. Indeed, Crowley would make acts such as masturbation and homosexual intercourse keys to his magical power. In Batali's terms, we might say that much of Crowley's sexual practice centered around calculated acts of transgression, that is, deliberate violations and systematic inversions of moral laws and sexual codes of the larger social order. Exactly what we're seeing in our society right now. This is the point. The point is that this is all about a massive sexual ritual that is opening a portal for demonic possession by those who engage in these acts. We can find another instance of where we go here. Okay. So thus the most physically and morally dangerous of all acts were the non-productive acts such as masturbation and homosexual intercourse. As Leslie Hall observes, masturbation was reprobated universally throughout Victorian society and considered a possible source not only of moral decay, looking at our society now, moral decay, but even of epilepsy and insanity. Are we seeing people addicted to pornography and becoming what we would argue is basically insane? Is our society insane? Yeah, I would say it quite is at this point. So, yeah. So anyways, moving on here. And guys, everybody here, please smash that like. I want to give a special thanks again to everybody who's here. God bless you all, and I hope you had a blessed Pascha. I don't plan to hang on too much more on some of this stuff. Okay, and so then some of the people that were then later influenced by Pascal Beverly Randolph, again, he wasn't he himself. So Randolph himself, as they were now mingled with the most transgressive acts of homosexual intercourse and autoeroticism and even bestiality as a form of sexual magic. Guys, I literally have videos of a chick. Here it is. A chick literally talking about getting caught having sex with her boyfriend's golden retriever. This is demonic possession, and this is totally present in our society right now, more so than I think it's ever been before. Okay, so again, we see as good Godwin points out the autoerotic and homosexual techniques developed by Kellner and Roos would have been horrified by the more reserved Randolph, for whom sex was a sacrament between married couples guarded by ritual sanctity and moral injunctions. Right. That's why I said the guy and he was half black. His dad was white. His mom was a slave. And he was more about heterosexual sex, but he's considered basically one of the contemporary founders of sex magic, if you will. Well, the two people that he influenced, then they started getting into the homo stuff. And so in Crowley's revised system, however, the OTO's 9 degrees were expanded to 11. The 8th, 9th, and 11th of these focused on the explicitly transgressive sexual rights of autoerotic and homosexual intercourse, as Peter Koenig summarizes the upper degrees. Here we go. Crowley's 8th degree unveiled that masturbating on a sigil of a demon mediating upon the image of a phallus would bring power or communication with the divine being. Yeah, Satan. The 9th degree was labeled heterosexual intercourse, where the sexual secrets were sucked out of the vagina and then consumed, put on a sigil to attract this or that demon to fulfill the pertinent wish. The 11th degree, the mostly homosexual degree, one identifies oneself with an ejaculating penis. The blood or excrements from anal intercourse attract the spirit/demons, where the sperm keeps them alive. Again, disgusting, disgusting stuff. And so we're not going to go into any more of that, but it makes a little bit more sense than why a pedophile known as Joe Biden says that transgender people shape our nation's soul in official proclamation. Well, that soul is the lack thereof. It's destroying the soul. That's why it's shaping. It's taking the soul out of a society because it's all about self-destruction, right? Crowley himself was a drug addict, self-destruction through these methods. These elites are self-destructive in their desires for sexual domination of children and whatnot. And again, I got a whole thing here of Biden smelling children that we're going to look at. Wild stuff. Biden warns of the rising hate and violence against LGBTQ people. They're going to become a protected class. Why? Because it's essential for the promulgation, the further development of this sexual revolution, which is an opening portal for demonic possession. That's what it is. And so here's a academic article on pornography consumption, education, and support for same-sex marriage amongst U.S. males. What is it? What's the abstract here? Many consider same-sex marriage the civil rights issue of our time. Again, this was published actually a year before it became legal. So this article was published in January of 2013. Obama didn't sign the federal legalization of same-sex marriage until 2014. Many consider same-sex marriage a civil rights issue of our time. Although support is on the rise, there are some Americans who oppose same-sex marriage. Heterosexual males are a demographic group particularly likely to oppose same-sex marriage. Mass media and education are often thought of as important agents of socialization in American culture, getting you to normalize these values so that you'll accept them. Pornography in particular is a platform often discussed in terms of its impact on male sexual attitudes. This study used nationally representative 3-wave longitudinal data gathered from adult U.S. males to examine their overtime interplay between pornography consumption, education, and support for same-sex marriage. Support for same-sex marriage did not prospectively predict pornography consumption, but pornography consumption did prospectively predict support for same-sex marriage. Education was also positively associated with support of same-sex marriage. Scientific and social implications of these findings are discussed. Now, again, from an Orthodox perspective, as I said, that this sexual the sexual possession, the demonic opening of all this stuff, this comes from ideology and from engaging in the activity. So we find that increased pornography use, the activity that opens demonic possession, leads to more acceptance of these transgressive values. And then ideology, getting higher degrees, going to university. This stuff is ideological possession, right? Oh, well, I'm a progressive person. I'm a smart, educated person. I'm not like those bigoted religious people. I'm okay for trans kids. You see? Here we go on new study, and this is a human rights campaign. Again, this is a website in favor of coming from September 2018. New study reveals shocking rates of attempted suicide among trans adolescents. Non-binary adolescents were committing were attempting suicide at a rate of 41.8%. That's 42%. 42% of all adolescents who were non-binary had already attempted, not thought about, not contemplated, attempted suicide at some point in their lives. Again, this is about a demonic possession to get you to kill yourself before you can repent and come in contact with Jesus Christ. That's the point. The point is to get you to follow through, cut your breast off, cut your testicles off, invert your penis into a vagina, and then realize that you'll never, no matter what you do, actually be a woman or a man. The opposite of what you're born as, the opposite of what God made you as. And that leads people to commit suicide, which is the whole demonic agenda. That's the point. You know, here again, I had a thing on Mammon and the personifications of Mammon, and how, you know, our St. Gregory of Nyssa talked about, he asserted that Mammon was another name for Beelzebub. And I tied that into the whole corporate personhood thing earlier. So anyways, I got all these Twitter videos that I want to get into real quick. Here's Sam Smith and all this different stuff. But before I do, again, I want to address some of the super chats real quick before I get too far into all that. So let me look at a few of these real quick. So we had some big super chats come in right from the get-go here. The first one came from Storm the Cat. Shout out to you, Storm the Cat. He throws in $10 and says, something that I noticed is that I think lots of evangelical Protestants are nice people, but when they're asked about their beliefs, their answers tend to be generic talking points, whereas the Orthodox are better at giving a comprehensive worldview. Well, I appreciate that, Storm the Cat. And, you know, Orthodoxy is the last refuge for traditional Christianity. If you are a traditional Christian and you want to maintain traditional Christianity, you got to become an Orthodox. Catholicism is not going to do it at this point. And God bless all the Catholics out there. I have many Catholic friends that are good-hearted people, but come on. Next one, big, major shout out. Let me actually refresh this one so we can see it on screen. Major shout out to Boneman538, who throws in a super chat of $100. And he said, happy Pascha, brother. Well, thank you so much, Boneman538. God bless you, brother, and the family. Thank you so much. And he said, just watch Passion of the Christ. Happy Death Cult Theosis Day. No joke. Let's all have an orgasm and put this man God back on the cross so all may show their deviation from maritime salvation, give up their eternal birthright for lust. Oof. And isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Shout out to you, Bowman. Again, really appreciate it. And appreciate your support, man. God bless you. Thank you so much. And Boneman538 threw in another super chat of $51. And he said, corporate personhood transcends persons because we owe no obligations to persons, i.e. the dead. A fictitious transgress the as fictions transgress the law, and we have a providence that is beyond the world and its promise. Some anger is okay. Absolutely. And that's why the corporations are the central catalyst to try to invert the society. Again, I talked about corporate personhood. Corporations don't have personhood. We are made in the image of God. We have personhood. We are the unique creature on this planet that has personhood. And they're trying to take that away from all of us by engaging in these degenerate rituals, in these degenerate sexual acts, and accepting them. This is a total inversion of society, and it's about losing your soul. I couldn't agree more, Boneman538. Thank you so much, brother. And it's actually right. These are fictitious. These corpses, these corporations, they're not persons. And yet they have more rights than you and I do, because this is the inversion in moving into the beast system. Boneman538 threw in another $100 super chat. My gosh, thank you so much, brother. Bowman538 for the very, very generous super chat. He said, look up 18 USC 247 religious real property and CFR 7211. All crimes are commercial and have a settlement, closure value for consideration, and your Pope thinks you are religious property. Stop being chattel, mortgage, and pray. Amen to that. Bowman, at the end of this stream, I will pull all that stuff up that you requested for the super chat. So I promise I'll do that. I'll look up 18 USC 247 religious real property and CFR 72.11. So we'll look into all that stuff. Thank you so much, Bowman538. And he threw in $10 more, and he said, wearing black like judges, magistrates, and Zelensky's does it is because they are mourning justice, because it is for just us, whatever it is. They are swingers. Yeah, exactly. And Zelensky's a bisexual dude. He's propped up, right? He was a comedian that played a president. And this was all after the coup, the U.S. coup in Ukraine. They took it over. They propped him up. They took somebody who was, again, an actor, part of the magic, and then got him and made him president of the country to substantiate all this stuff. And you start looking at the attacks of like the Kiev Lavra. This is demonic. People, what do you always see? The people that are protesting in Ukraine against the churches, gay, pride flags, open satanic imagery. There was a guy that literally had a sweatshirt on that said "Hail Satan," who was mocking some of the monks. This is because Ukraine, the demons enter through death, right? War is an act of death. They're creating a scenario in which people can become possessed through that. And then, of course, the death through killing ourselves through these sexual rituals that people are engaging in. That's another form of death. Shout out to the great John Pro, iconographer and brother in our community. Make sure you go hit up John Pro. I believe it's John Pro Art on Instagram, and follow him. And if you have an idea of an icon of one of the saints that you'd like for him to do, reach out to him and have my brother John Pro do it for you. He throws in $5 and says, I'm in the South. I thought I would escape the figs when I left California. I've been proven wrong. I saw a whole family of troons here. Felt bad for the kid. It's disgusting. It's so sad. And again, men are the protectors. We are the barriers. We are the defense. We protect children and women. And the fact that men have totally given away their dutiful right to protect the innocent, we now see that the children are the first ones to go, right? The normalization of pedophilia. If a child can choose its gender at age 6 or 3, that means it's already a sexual entity. That means that it can okay and consent to sex. Didn't you just see like the UK, I don't know what he was, the minister of like diversity or something, talk about how children can consent to sex with adults? Open promotion of pedophilia. That's the sinisterness behind the transgender movement. If kids can transition, that means they can say okay to sex because they're already a conscious sexual entity. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. Anyways. Okay, so let's get back to some of this stuff on Twitter that I want to show you guys. So here we go. Again, disgusting. I don't want to play too much of the music because I don't want to get hit with any copyrights here on YouTube. But let me get my speaker working here. Okay. And so here is Sam Smith, the homosexual singer who, again, he did like a satanic ritual at the Grammys. I don't know if you remember that. Well, this is now a recent video of his performance, and I'm going to turn it down so we can't see much of it. But look, he's fat, absolutely disgusting, dressed as a devil. Again, just gross. Absolutely gross. That's what I mean. This is what we're up against. Look at this. Look at it. He's got tassels on. Again, I'm going to be done. I can't really look at it. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Look, here's a TikTok I found of, look, queer daughters.
I'm looking for a yellow bone, long hair star.
Ally moms. Where's the fathers? Where's the fathers at? Right? Celebration of daughters becoming gay and their moms are proud because they support it. Disgusting. Absolute degeneracy. Absolute degeneracy. Here's one of a real demon. And I'm going to play this one. You tell me. I tweeted this. I said, this is demonic possession. The trans movement is getting people to commit spiritual and physical suicide. That, again, what I'm articulating in today's stream in a little bit more erudite way. But listen to this and tell me this is not an actual demonic possession of somebody. It's disgusting.
If you want my future, I'm gonna get you fast. If you wanna get with me, I'll turn your face into a mask. I won't be wasting this precious time. I'll get you in the dark and then commit this crime. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I want your soul. That's right, I want your soul. Your soul. Your soul. Your soul. If you wanna be a corpse, I'll bring you to my basement. That's right. I won't feel no remorse. You'll be like nothing left. If you want to be a corpse, you're gonna give me your soul. Taking it forever. That's a pain that's all.
Tell me that's not demonic. Tell me right now that is not somebody who's demonically possessed. Absolutely disgusting. Yeah, exactly. They said, I want your soul. They're open about it. Yeah, demonize. Yeah, totally normal. Yeah, totally normal. These are the people I invite to my coffee hour and have tea and have, intelligent conversations. This is what we're up against, guys. This is absolute demonic possession through this degeneracy, right? Here's a video that I want to show you guys of Riley Gaines. She's the swimmer from the UK. Not the UK, but University of Kentucky. I'm sorry, from the University of Kentucky, who came in second to Leah is it Thompson or Thomas? I think it's Thomas. Leah Thomas, the dude who was like a second-rate college male swimmer, and so he changes genders, becomes a woman. Of course, the NCAA allows him to compete against women. And what do we see? He absolutely dominates the competition. Well, Riley Gaines, she's a actual woman, a heterosexual woman that's actually somewhat traditional, and she's been speaking out against it. Well, she went to, unfortunately, the Bay Area, and she went to San Francisco University, or the University of San Francisco, and here, or San Francisco State University, there it is. So we're going to see a man wearing a dress punches her. And listen to what the mob chants, right? That's what I want to focus on, is they're chanting trans women are women. Trans women aren't women. But this is part of, as I said, the sort of polling into a fantasy. This is in a way the metaverse. I did a stream on the metaverse, and almost every commercial in the metaverse that Facebook did all had LGBTQ plus people in it. I'm going to start saying LGBTQP for pedophilia. That's what I'm going to start doing. It's literally right there. And so it's absolutely disgusting. But here we're going to play this video. Listen to what they're chanting and how these again, tell me, do you think these people are demonically possessed?
It's just me. I'm good. I'm good. I'm coming. I'm good. Trust me, I'm good. Go ahead. You crying! You fucking crying, bitch! Fuck you! Fuck you! Trans rights are human rights! Bye, bitch! You dress like a communist.
So I'll stop it there. Again, exactly what I'm talking about. A total alternate reality. Trans women aren't women. That's just a fact. They have, and that's why the thing, a lot of these trans women too, it's more common for women to get surgery to have like a penis or something. The men that are trans often keep their genitalia. Why? I would say just like their father right here. Here's the trans movement's father. It is Baphomet. It is Satan. Baphomet's a god that was developed by the Knights Templar, who were engaging in incredibly degenerate sexual rituals, homoerotic sexual rituals. And this was the deity that they created. Again, they were participating in these Gnostic forms of Christianity, if you will, during the Crusade period. And what do we see? We see a female-breasted man that is, again, up as above, so below, pointing up and down. He's half man, half goat. He's half male, half female. You see, again, he has testicles right here representing the sort of the serpent that are growing up the staff. Again, symbolic of his penis, but it's symbolic of like Hermeticism, Asclepius, the rod of Asclepius, the caduceus, right? All this different stuff. And of course, the satanic 5-pointed star, which is then right next to his flame, because he's a Promethean figure, right? Baphomet is a Promethean figure that brings the false light. That's what Lucifer means. Lucifer is a false light. Lucius is light. And so this is their father. That's why it's the dissolution of boundaries. God, the way we become divinized is by maintaining, submitting to the boundaries and categories that God created. And in that way, then we move into and we submit to that reality. It is real. Men and women are different. This is moving into the fantasy world in which you conflate and you bring all these things together. Again, I always talk about the privileging of unity over multiplicity. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Exactly what we're seeing here. So moving back to some of our videos, here's another one that was going around. Here's Dylan Mulvaney, again, the guy who pretends to be a woman on TikTok that has a ginormous following of young kids. And he's with another guy who has a considerable following of children, Jeffrey Marsh. And they're having an in-depth discussion about what girlhood is. Neither one of them are women. Neither one of them know what girlhood is. We're going to play this video. But Jeffrey Marsh came under fire. Why? Because he has a video basically, well, what his shtick is like trying to be a parent figure for runaway. So getting trans kids to like run away from their parents if their parents don't affirm their trans identity. And so if they don't affirm their identity, the whole point is for them to run away from their parents. And Jeffrey Marsh has like a private Patreon. Patreon condones this, right? Patreon condones this because we live in the beast system. That these children for like $3 or $5 can sign up, become a Patreon on him, and then have private conversations with him about sex and transgenderism. I kid you not. I kid you not. And so it's absolute disgusting degeneracy. We had a few super chats come in real quick. Let me read one. One comes from 2-Bit Podcast, throws in $20 and says, "My brother in Christ, I would love to hear your thoughts / have on a future Russell Brand friend or fed to discuss how creators like him both point to and away from the spiritual war we are in." Well, I just think that Russell Brand isn't as intelligent as people think he is. And, that's the thing is, I don't know if he's a fed per se. Maybe I would say since he's got, he's on Rumble now and basically off of YouTube. I don't know if he's totally, false opposition, if you will. I think maybe he's just a confused dude. And maybe he's confused about, how all his spiritual presuppositions actually feed into the exact thing that he's trying to fight. So if you want to sponsor a stream, I'd be more than happy to do that. I do have a stream on Russell Brand, 2-Bit Podcast. If you put in Church of the Eternal Logos, Russell Brand, you'll see I have a whole stream sort of deconstructing his spiritual worldview. Another super chat came in from my buddy Frankie D. Shout out to you, Frankie D. God bless you, man. And Frankie D throws in a super chat and says, I know it's messed up, but Emperor Frankie D would have ordered this rebellion to be put down with force. Hashtag Emperor Justinian, return to Byzantium. I totally agree. But again, that would require somebody with a moral compass and isn't actually engaging. You either worship Mammon or they're worshiping this sort of inversion of their sexual fantasy. Either way, it leads to the same outcome. That's why it's not this huge conspiracy. It's just sin. People who love their sin contribute to the inversion of the world. That's what it is. And it's those same people that went and got the jibby jab, right? That's why they can't see truth. It's the people who believe in all this crap that went and got, stabbed and are in a difficult position for that now. So, it's all about sin and how much sin do you recognize, how much sin do you adopt and participate in, and how much do you believe in. But anyways, Frankie D, thank you so much, brother, for the $4.99 super chat. And Frankie D threw in another super chat for $4.99 and says, it's hard to be compassionate when these groups are violent and promote violence against their adversaries. It's like at least the Romans were based. Yeah. But at the same time, the Romans were killing Christians left and right. And so I don't know how based the Romans were because homosexuality, man-boy love, common, even in the military. Like I said, bestiality, the end of the Roman Empire. Again, if you want to hear me to do a full breakdown on the absolute degeneracy, just listen to the first 10-minute opening I had with Uber Boyo on our discussion on is Christianity the woke religion of Rome. Rome was disgusting and comparable to the world that we live in right now. Very comparable to the degeneracy and the decadence. The decadence leads to all this sexual degeneracy. It's a fact. It happens over and over and over. So yeah, it's hard to be compassionate towards these groups. Again, that's why as men, we can't attack them. As Christian Orthodox men, we can't attack them. We can't go out and physically beat them or anything like that. But what we do is we maintain our boundaries and we cannot fold. Unlike the Protestants and unlike much of the Catholic Church, we cannot take one step back, as Andrew says. We cannot take one step back from our tradition and to our traditional boundaries between what is a man and a woman, what is good and true and beautiful. We must stand firm. And therefore, if they try to transgress those boundaries, that's when violence occurs. Then that's your right as a man, as a Christian. We don't go attack, but we definitely defend. And so you have to make sure to know what you're defending so that you don't take one step back and give any ground. So anyways, Frankie D, thank you so much, brother, for the super chat. And shout out to the King of Hellas, throws in $3 and throws in a super sticker. God bless you, brother. Thank you so much for the support. I truly appreciate it. Okay, now let's go listen to these two men talk about what girlhood is and listen to the nonsense of it. Just break down what they're actually saying. They're saying nothing. Jeffrey Marsh is a pervert constantly trying to get children to pay for his Patreon so he can talk to them privately without their parents knowing. And Dylan Mulvaney is just a grifter who's a incredibly flamboyant gay man who just grew his hair out and dresses in women's clothes and now is the brand of Tampax. He's the promoter of Tampax and female bras for Nike and Bud Light. Again, we'll talk about the Bud Light thing in just a minute. But again, here, listen to this nonsense.
Girlhood becomes stronger when there's more of us behind it.
Girlhood becomes stronger. No, girlhood is for girls. And that's the weird thing. And shout out to Rachel for highlighting this on Twitter. All these perverts have this really weird sexual fetish about being a girl between 16 and 24, right? None of these transgenders want to be a woman in her 68, when she's postmenopausal. No, they have these weird fetishes where they just pretend to be young girls. It's a weird fetish of some sort. I'm not sure how exactly to break that down in their psychology, but what they're transgendering to is the lip gloss and the pink clothing and the heart sunglasses. This isn't about girlhood or womanhood. This isn't about being a woman with, I want to transgender to a female because I want to be a mother. No, these people are obsessed with little girl imagery. It's something's really weird with it.
Certain people are allowed in, but who's allowing? That's the real question.
Who
Do
is?
you know?
I don't. Maybe there isn't one, and maybe that's
Maybe
the
there
beautiful
isn't one.
part of it. Do you have any relationship to the concept of girlhood?
I absolutely do.
Again, who's preventing us transgenders from being women? Well, nobody's preventing, but again, it's the heterosexual cis people, which they're actually in opposition to, because those are the people who aren't letting them into the club of the category, because it's a category error. Both those dudes have male genitalia and want you to pretend that they're women.
I do. I find girlhood to be inspiring. There are a lot of
And why is it a question mark? I believe it's inspiring. That's like a question mark, dude. You're an idiot.
human beings who are girls who transcend what their gender is supposed to be.
Yes.
And that to me is something I draw strength from.
Girls that transcend the gender of what they're supposed to be. So what is girlhood then? You just said a girlhood is and what empowers you is girls that transcend what being a girl is. What? Again, total nonsense. These people are absolute retards. Their brains are broken.
And excitement from. Absolutely.
And I hope this is the start of a lifelong friendship. What do you think, people?
I love you all.
Okay. Oh, we got to do my signature. Okay. Okay, ready?
Love ya. Bye. Mwah.
Girl.
Unreal. I don't even know what to say at this point. I don't even know what to say. Unreal. Oh my gosh. Frankie D throws in a super chat for $9.99 and says, if these trans groups had their way, we would be getting killed by the state. I don't think the Romans wanted to wage a war on the very nature of man. They had a lot of redeemable qualities. Yeah, that is probably true. They definitely weren't as bad as these groups in regards to the absolute war on the categories of men and women. I don't doubt that at all. So God bless you, Frankie D. Thank you so much, brother, for the support. And let's see here. Another one came in from Thelema Theo. Throws in $10. Said, a time is coming when men will go mad. And when they see someone who is not mad, they will attack him saying, you are mad. You are not like us. Attributed to St. Anthony the Great. We are there. We are absolutely there, guys. I'm taking a risk just making this stream. Just talking about this publicly is controversial at this point. I mean, who knows? You may get shut down and deplatformed just for talking about how men and women are different and there are different, biological realities to this. It's unreal. It's absolutely unreal. And it's through the corporations that they're pushing this, right? It's such a small minority of people. The majority of people are on our side. They think like you and me. But the corporations have so much influence in this fascistic society that we live in, this merger of the state and corporations, that it's done through the people who are demonically possessed and the corporations, and how they're constantly suppressing us, inundating us, and smashing this stuff in our face. And if we don't go along with it, they'll debank you and deplatform you. We are there, guys. This is, again, a time is coming when men will go mad, and when they will see someone who is not mad, they will attack him saying, you are mad. You are not like us. We're there. Thank you so much, Thelema Theo, for the super chat. Again, blessed Pascha to you. Christ is risen. Wish you nothing but the best. Next one comes from 2-Bit Podcast, threw in $5 and said the nihilistic womb. Yeah, exactly. The nihilistic womb, because there isn't one there. No joke. Thank you so much, 2-Bit Podcast, for the super chat, brother. Thank you very much. Okay, the next one that I want to show you guys now. Here is Falun Fox. This is a biological man that is permitted to fight women in MMA. And so here you go. Oh, so this is here you go. Check this out. This is a dude allowed to literally beat women. This is what I'm going to be talking about with Rachel Wilson on Tuesday night, is the total erasure of women. Like, again, in the name of progress, in the name of equality, they're letting men literally beat the crap out of women. I'll show you one of the women that got her skull cracked. This man claims this one did. I'm not sure. Elon Musk's little fact checker says that this person didn't suffer a cracked skull, but check this out.
Fox delivering the knees, and that's it. Fallon Fox. Holy cow. Game over. Wow. And a quick finish to our first women's $20,000.
Listen to this dude speak. Listen to this dude speak.
One knockout. Fallon, Queen of Swords. Oh.
How you feeling right now? I'm feeling excellent. That was sweet, huh? Did you like that? Yeah. And I want to tell everyone else I'm coming in this tournament.
Do you like that? Don't you think I'm so pretty? It reminds me of what's the the skit that Jim Carrey used to do on In Living Color of the transgender bodybuilder that he used to do. It reminds me of that, right? This dude, he doesn't even sound like he's on hormones. That dude does not even sound like he's taking estrogen at all. And he sounds like a literal like demon. Like somebody's got to know what I'm talking about. The skit that Jim Carrey used to do, where he was the transgender power lifter, bodybuilder. This is just unreal. Yeah, people are laughing. I'm coming.
Every woman in this tournament better look out. I'm freaking coming. You
Fox delivering the knees, and that's it. Fallon Fox.
Yeah, so we celebrate men literally beating the crap out of women. Here's a great quote that I found is, civilizations die from suicide, not by murder. Isn't that the truth? Again, that's why the degeneracy we accept, Vera de Milo. That's it. Vera de Milo. This is, this right here. Vera de Milo is the, let me see if I can pull that up real quick. It's unreal. Vera de Milo. Here we go. Yeah, this is when Jim Carrey used to pretend to be this transgender. And listen how he talked. Let's see if I can find one real quick. Just a clip so we don't get shut down here by YouTube.
But I made that change, and you can too.
Let's go back to this.
Sweet, huh? Did you like that? Yeah. And I want to tell everyone else I'm coming in this tournament. Every woman in this tournament better look out. I'm freaking coming. You. So let's get busy burning off those bothersome bazooms. Girls, are you ready? All righty. Let's.
Again, we live in crazy times, guys. It's absolutely unreal where we're living in right now. Jonathan Jester throws in $5 and says, what are your thoughts on applied kinesiology muscle testing? Is it pure occultic, or could it be a biological phenomenon science can't explain? Thank you. Applied kinesiology, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with kinesiology. I don't know if that's occultic. So I apologize, Jonathan. I'm not sure exactly what your question is. Kinesiology is just the study of the way the body moves. So I'm not sure. I think maybe you're hinting at something I'm just not totally aware of. Jonathan, I apologize, brother, but thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I do appreciate it. Yeah, wild stuff. And my brother, Jared Fetzer, throws in $5 and he says, apparently sex magic and equality, quality of outcomes are directly related. That makes sense since how the idea seems to be screwing everyone and everything. Yeah. Isn't that true, Jared? Thank you so much, brother, for the super chat. God bless you and the family, man. I hope you guys had a blessed Pascha. Thanks again, Jared. Okay, let's continue. I got so much more to go through. But again, I totally agree with Arnold Toynbee here that civilizations die from suicide, not by murder. And the suicide is, again, the transgression of God's morality, God's laws, God's objective rules for society. And that is what this sexual magical black magic that we're up against. That's what it's fighting. So here we go. Here's the, again, conservatism, right? So I got Blair White to block me. He posted this. This is a dude with male genitalia who is proud, who, again, just recently, Luke Rakowski of We Are Change posted a photo with him and Alex Jones and Tim Pool and Blair White, a dude who has fake breasts, who then, again, is posting thirst traps. This is disgusting stuff. If you see a bulge in a conservative woman's pants, it's a gun. No, dude, you have a dick. If you see a bulge in a liberal woman's pants, it's a penis. No, bro, that's you, man. That's you. You see the gaslighting here? Do you see the gaslighting? This is a dude who is getting conservatives to listen to what he has to say about politics in the world, or fighting the radical trans. Dude, you are trans. You are a dude. And just because you have a gun and you have fake breasts, you post something like this? Disgusting. And so I made a point. This is a biological man. Yet because he says guns good, me conservative, and had surgery, we're supposed to pretend this isn't entirely subversive to a traditional Christian worldview and values. Well, what that led to, Blair White blocking me. Well, good. And so this is conning. This is a radically gay man, and then a trans Lady MAGA, another trans dude that's fighting the radical trans movement by being trans. No, shut up, dude. Shut up. And then another trans dude. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Here is this was the video I was telling you guys about that was going around the internet. This is a dude here walking into a convenience store in Australia. And what is happening is he is upset because he was on a gay dating app. I guess, again, I don't know what lesbians get on. I don't know if Grindr has male and female. I don't know. Anyways, he was on some dating app identifying as a woman, looking for a woman. So again, we can, how many articles could I pull up on all the transgender women that sexually assault women in prison, right? They always claim to be women, but then still are attracted to women. Caitlyn Jenner, right? Bruce Jenner being one of them. Bruce Jenner, Fox News. Oh my gosh, something radical happened in the LGBTQ movement. Get Bruce Jenner on to tell us how these people are crazy while he himself has fake breasts, has a penis, and is only attracted to women, he claims. What? These people are broken. Anyways, watch this. So this is the dude walks into a convenience store with an axe. Okay. We see a guy walking by. Okay. Bruce Jenner. That's hilarious. So then we see the transgender person come up to a man. He starts saying something. You can see it, something's getting a little bit aggressive somehow. And then they just take the axe and just starts hitting people. Transgender violence right here. Yeah, and you want to know what's so crazy about this one? Is where is it at? Let me see. Let me get it real quick. Here it is. So again, this is an Australian man who identifies as a woman who attempted to kill people with an axe at a 7-Eleven store last year while under the influence of drugs, and says that he heard voices telling him to kill and maim and, quote, to start to raise of hell on earth. Again, this is this is spiritual demonic possession. This is a demon inside of a person. According, again, the 26-year-old who goes by the name Evie Amati. Yeah, right. He claimed that he heard inaudible whispers that turned into actual instructions. Yeah, bro, you're freaking possessed by a demon, man. You're possessed by a demon. That's crazy, dude. That dude just took a freaking axe to the face. Luckily, he put his shoulder up so he didn't catch the whole thing that just went straight into his noggin. It's unreal. I'm telling you, this is going to get way more frequent in our society. Here's a monument in the Netherlands. The left was the one that they had, Mama. Again, we see a pregnant woman with children. Oh, look, traditional femininity, wearing a dress, conservative dress. Oh, that's beautiful. Though, oh, that was in Russia. Sorry, the one on the left is in Russia. The one on the right is a new monument in the Netherlands of basically a Baphomet, clearly a man that has fake breasts with an animal on top of him. Again, the bestiality, it all goes together, guys. It all comes together. And so it's the same thing. Yeah, Russia with the W, exactly. The one on the left is Mama in Russia. The one on the right's in the Netherlands. Disgusting. Here's another demon-possessed person that I want to show you guys. Check this out. So here's a drag queen, so a dude who pretends to be a woman, talking about how basically he's coming for your kids.
There's been a lot in the media recently about drag and what's appropriate in front of children. And I get it. Some of my material isn't exactly child-friendly. But when you get right down to it, who would you rather have holding your child? A drag queen or a priest? Because the worst thing a drag queen's going to put on a kid's face is glitter. I ain't got 9 lives, I got 39 lashes.
No, that's not what you're going to put on their face. And I'm not going to say what you would, but continue on here. Listen to this crap.
I ride this way till it all comes crashing down on me. Oh, it's coming down on me. And drag is everywhere these days. You could almost say it's a bigger business than religion. The only difference is drag queens pay taxes, churches pay hush money.
Then look at this disgusting, all these freaking fat dudes that come out with these obnoxious female wigs and stuff. And what are they doing? They're putting money around. You see, Mammon goes right along with this stuff. Are you going to worship Mammon? You see, the symbol, it all goes together.
Nailed it.
What the heck? Look at the dude with the mustache. What the heck is that? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Again, just disgusting stuff. So again, moving along here. This was right after the transgender person killed the 6 Christians in Tennessee. This transgender person came on and was telling people to cause more violence. As you see, I said demons, basically, again, the premise of today's stream. So listen to this person. Tell me if you think this person's demonically possessed.
Time to fucking fight. Trans allies in Tennessee, it's time to fucking fight. Trans women, if they lock you up for identifying as a woman, fight, resist. You're gonna die anyways. We're going to die anyways. It's time to fucking resist. Fight them. Hurt them. If they put their hands on you, beat them. We are at an attack. It's time to fight back. Do you hear me? Trans people in Tennessee, trans men, trans women, non-binary, fight. If they try to arrest you or have you arrested on a felony for existing, beat them. Team up. Gang together, get people who agree with you to come and fight. Carry a weapon at all times. And yes, you have to attack the police officer. Allegedly. But it's time. It's time. If they're going to try to jail and police you for existing, you fight them. You fight them. And if they lock you in prison, fuck up the guards. Bust out of prison. Jump in with other trans people. It's time we organize a prison bust in Tennessee, guys. It's time we organize a prison bust. It's time we start fighting. It's time. If they put their hands on you, fight them. Trans people, fight them. We will not let them create a genocide of trans people. I am so tired. I was in a live the other day with 2 trans people who denied this. Out of my way. I disown any trans person who disagrees with this notion. You are not allowed at the fucking table. It's time to fucking fight. Trans genocide's around the corner. Stop debating cis people in your existence. I do not debate. My existence is not a conversation. We fucking fight now, or we die. And we're not gonna die debating cis people. They're gonna have the last word. They're joining your life to call you a man. They're joining your life to call you a woman. They're joining your life to misgender you, to get the right pronouns, to tell you that you're not existent. They're fucking with you and you're an idiot. Stop. You're gonna kill us all. Join together and start organizing a rally for resistance, not for talk. They're fucking with you. You're being gaslit. You think you're gonna have a conversation and make progress. We don't have time to make progress. We have time to fight. God, all of you, I'm disappointed. Fight. Stop. I'll tell you something. If a police officer put his hands on me for trying to be who I am, I don't care if I got shot. I'm taking a couple of transphobes with me. And I suggest you do the same. The time for debate is over. It's a waste of time.
And so again, my point in showing that is the suicide of it all. This is demonic possession, guys. This whole movement is a conduit for Satan. Satan literally is living and moving through this sexual degenerate movement. This is unreal, guys. This is not a joke. This is, again, demonic, absolute demonic possession. Yeah, exactly. That's my whole point, Sean Hammer. Demons aren't, they are. And that's why they're okay with killing them, because demonic possession is death, guys. The demons always try to get you. Orthodoxy tells you that anybody who commits suicide is hearing the voices of demons, because God would never, ever, ever condone or promote you to kill yourself. That is something that demons do. Demons do that. And so when you hear about at the end how, oh, if a police try to stop me from being, nobody's stopping these people anyways. They just said they can't have access to children and it's not going to be okay within schools. They think it's a genocide. No, it's not a genocide. But these people are freaking demonically possessed and they are okay because the demons want them to kill themselves before they can repent. And so, oh, yeah, go try to kill 2 people and allow yourself to be killed. Unreal. Unreal. Here's another one. Here's the Dalai Lama. Yeah, so the trans movement is just a smokescreen for their sick and twisted agenda. They're trying to make people accept their ultimate goal, to legalize pedophilia. They're playing the long game, slowly pushing the boundaries until people become numb to their perversion. That's exactly what's going on. Here's the Dalai Lama. I just opened up. Remember, I talked to you guys about tantric sex rituals within tantric Buddhism. Here's the Dalai Lama. Again, this was just recently. And I have let me show you real quick. I showed the official statement. I posted this on my social media. The official statement from these people here, that I don't know if you guys will be able to read this, but I'll just show it to you. Okay, so this little thing right here, this is a news headline, okay? And it says, the top Tibetan leader says Dalai Lama's "suck my tongue" comment to a boy was innocent because the holy leader is actually beyond sensorial pleasures. Oh, is that right? Is that right? The Dalai Lama is beyond sensorial pleasure. Do you want to explain all the sex rituals that they have to engage in, right? And if you guys don't know, the Dalai Lama, the whole way that works, he's claimed to be the 14th Dalai Lama because the Dalai Lama is claimed to reincarnate. Well, reincarnation, obviously I don't believe it. I'm a Christian, but dude, these are demons. The idea that you lived before, it's like a dynamic prelest. And again, me just looking my own personal opinion as an Orthodox Christian, the Dalai Lama is probably just somebody who's possessed by the same spirit. This is the reincarnation, if you will, right? Anyways, check this out. The 14th Dalai Lama, supposed to be, his holiness, right? This sort of icon of global ecumenism and how we're all just going to get along. Look at this sick video. Check this out. Okay, so he kisses a boy on the lips. You can see grabs his chin because the boy wasn't really into it. And this is in a public gathering. Look at all the people wearing masks, by the way, too.
And suck my tongue.
Unreal. Absolutely unreal. This dude is a pervert, and that he has a fetish for children, probably boys. Again, not uncommon for some of the sexual rituals that exist within tantric Buddhism there. We got a super chat from Frankie D. Throws in another one. Shout out to Frankie D. Throws in a $9.99 super chat and says, instead of recognizing the demonic behavior against children at the school, they celebrated the shooter. Exactly. That's exactly what they did in Tennessee. They celebrated the shooter. This kind of behavior does not merit the civility that is due to common society. You're right. It's absolutely disgusting. I don't even know what to do exactly, how to deal with all this stuff. It's gross. It's absolutely gross. I have see if we get some good I have some good memes that I found regarding this. I'll show you a few of them. So in regards to what the Dalai Lama did, it's Joe Biden, but the Dalai Lama. Oh my gosh. These people are degenerate. It's disgusting. Hey man, come on, man. You like ice cream? Oh my gosh. We live in wild times, people. Okay, next one I want to show you guys. Again, here's, we're not going to play the music just because it's going to get us copyrighted. But look at all these instances. Here's another pedo, our president, Joe Biden. Look how he always wants to touch the children and smell them. I honestly think, I wonder if demons can smell innocence. And that's why they all love to like grab children and smell them. Look, he wants to smell the baby. He's got his hand on the girl's waist like she's his date. He's smelling her hair. Look at him grab the girl's face. You guys know that Joe Biden's daughter, in the diary that James O'Keefe was able to get, literally talks about how Joe, performed sexual acts with his own daughter. So let alone incest, let alone pedophilia, but incestual pedophilia. Look at him. Oh yeah. Look, there's a child by herself. Get her, Joe. He wanted to. He almost did. Absolutely gross. Here's the icon of Baphomet in the Church of Satan. They don't have him with female breasts, but look at the way the children, look how the conservative the children look, getting them to look up to Baphomet. Look at that. It's absolutely a symbol for the society we live in today. Getting the Christian-based children, the children that come from Christian homes or more traditional homes, getting them to, admire the degeneracy that's surrounding them. Absolutely disgusting. Here we're going to start getting into bestiality here. So again, I apologize if you guys are about to lose your lunch or dinner, but it's about to get gross. Frankie D throws in another super chat, $4.99. God bless you, Frankie D. Thank you so much, bro, for the support tonight. He says, God have mercy on these mofos. Damn. God have mercy on me too. I am even worse than these, but from the perspective of governing society, this must go. It's true, man. It is true. Yeah. Again, John Pro, the Lama, Biden, the Pope, all should be rounded up with plenty of millstones. I couldn't agree more, man. I could not agree more. Yeah. Greg says hard to watch. It is. It's absolutely disgusting. And to think that these people have societal power and that this is all being normalized in our country is ridiculous. In the entire world, I mean, this is ridiculous. This is pure evil. And so, Frankie D, your sentiments are the exact same as mine. You know, Frankie D, again, says, God have mercy on these mofos. God have mercy on me too. I am even worse. But from the perspective of governing society, this must go. Absolutely. It's sick. It's absolutely sick, man. Well, here's an article again. Look, this is just from a week ago. That's a week ago, April 8th, 2023. Mississippi woman who had sex with dog filmed act outside of a church. Look, she's not that old. Look at this. Unreal. She's 19. Denise Frazier, 19 of Mississippi, after her arrest and charges of bestiality, is alleged that she filmed videos of the crimes outside of a church and then posted it on social media. Oh my gosh. A Mississippi woman who was arrested after allegedly having sex with a dog and posting videos of the act on social media was seen for the first time with the pup and photo snapped before the heinous act. Denise Frazier, 19, crashed her car in Merrick, Mississippi last week and was photographed on the side of the road holding a German Shepherd on a leash. Frazier was charged on April 5th with unnatural intercourse and aggravated cruelty to an animal. She could face up to 10 years if convicted. Police in Mississippi say they were alerted to a clip involving a woman and a male dog by a concerned resident who spotted it on social media. In my 17 years in law enforcement, this is one of the most disturbing cases that I've ever investigated. Sergeant J.D. Carter of the Jones County Sheriff's Department. Frazier allegedly told police that she was threatened to do it and also that people pay her for the videos. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Here's a video of her in a pit bull. Ugh. But again, it gets worse. It gets worse. You're not going to believe this. Look, you'd say, okay, this girl's all decent looking, right? She's not the worst looking girl in the world. Wait till you hear this. Yeah. Dork Lord in a tutu throws in 550 from New Zealand and says, homeschool your kids. No doubt. I mean, my kids are getting homeschooled. There's no question about that. There is no question about that. But again, prepare yourself, guys. Listen to this. Listen to this.
Have you ever cheated before? Not with another human.
What do you mean?
I cheated on my boyfriend with his dog. It was a golden retriever.
I mean, how did your boyfriend find out?
He opened the door and I was in the doggy position with his doggy.
Oh, okay. Oh, you crazy.
Absolutely disgusting.
Not with
Absolutely disgusting, guys. What, again, this is demonic possession. This is, you already know that she's okay with the entire agenda that we've articulated at this point. To do that, what? Again, I told you guys, this stream is not family friendly. This is for adults. Absolutely disgusting. Again, how many skulls at Fallon Fox, that dude, that an MMA fighter? This is the person that he actually cracked their skull. He actually cracked this woman's skull. This is, and look, she has, was it Jeremiah 1:5? So we have a perceivably Christian girl with, again, she has an American flag tattoo, a Statue of Liberty. So patriotic American girl fighting a man who literally cracks her skull. And this is okay in our society. This is okay in our society. Unreal. Absolutely unreal. Here's the 7 most popular sexual fantasies. Or I'm not going to get into that. Here are some of these weird, again, these sexual fetishes that in kinks that are actually common. We're not going to get into all of them, but like foot fetish. This is a weird one that I've seen been growing online. Orgies. Bondage, again, like overly violent forms of sexuality, cuckolding. I mean, this is a big one right here in regards to the emasculation of men. Cuckolding, it's disgusting. We don't even get it. I'm not. If you guys don't know about it, then don't worry about it. Erotic humiliation. This was the one that people who think they're like adult babies, right? Adult babies, the audionypophilia. These harmless beings like to wear a crinkly diaper and often have a mommy or other nurturing dominant figure take care of them. It's okay if it's not your thing, but as kinksters like to say, don't yuck someone else's yum. Oh, what? What? This is absolutely disgusting. That's what I mean, guys. All this stuff is demonic possession. None of it is traditional masculinity. Again, playing with urine, urophilia, gross. Vorophilia is the infamous cannibal kink. It means getting turned on by fantasies of eating someone, and the subject has made headlines this year due to the sexual assault allegations against actor Armie Hammer. Armie Hammer. Yike. Cannibalism scandal ruined his marriage and career. Disgusting. He was a dad of 2. Oh my God. Again, guys, this is unreal. What the world we're living in is absolutely unreal. Oh my gosh. Anime. Okay, we're yeah, you get it. You get it. We're done with all that stuff. Here's Dick Dawkins. Where's Jim Bob when you need him? Jim Bob to do a Richard Dawkins. So this is an old article. I think this is before COVID, but Richard Dawkins defends mild pedophilia again and again. And in the article, he talks about how, again, this is according to Dick Dawkins, referring to his early days at a boarding school in Salisbury. He recalled how one of the unnamed masters pulled him on his knee and put his hand inside my shorts. He said the other children in his school peer group had been molested by the same teacher, but concluded, quote, I don't think he did any of us lasting harm. Quote, I am very conscious that you can't condone people, you can't condemn people of an earlier era by the standards of ours, just as we don't look back at the 18th and 19th centuries and condemn people for racism in the way as we would condemn a modern person for racism. I look back a few decades of my childhood and see things like canning, like mild pedophilia, and can't find it in me to condemn it by the same standards as I or anyone would today, he said. He said that the most notorious cases of pedophilia involve rape and even murder and should not be bracketed with what he just called mild touching up. Unreal. He doesn't think it has lasting consequence. That's why you're an atheist, bro. That's why you're okay with eating human meat, right? If you put in, right, if I go put in Richard Dawkins eating human meat. Would you eat human meat grown in a lab? Controversial scientist Richard Dawkins suggests it could eradicate the taboo against cannibalism. Yeah, bro, I'm thinking that master at your school who touched you up a little bit, I'm definitely thinking that it affected you. I guarantee you this dude is himself a pedophile. Unreal. Unreal. Here's another one. Washington state Democrats pass bill allowing government to take children from parents who refuse gender transition surgeries. You thought I was joking. I am not joking at all. SB 5599, a bill that allows the state to take children away from their parents if they refuse to consent to the children's gender transition surgeries. The bill was passed with the support of all Democrats and the opposition of all Republicans. That is disgusting. Again, this is state enforced demonic possession, mutilation of children. It's unreal. It's absolutely unreal. And now this is in law. Washington is the first state to actually, they beat California. How disgusting. They beat California. Even The Guardian has cults, human sacrifice, and pagan sex. And this hints at, again, is talking about the Wicker Man and stuff like that. But when you start getting into this degenerate sexual stuff, it always ends up with human sacrifice. The age-old ritual. The age-old ritual. Well, guys, that's going to conclude tonight's stream. Please smash that like for everybody who's still here. I apologize again for everything that you guys probably have witnessed tonight. I told you this was an adult content stream that was going to have some very contentious topics at hand. This wasn't for everybody. I told you guys. I warned you guys ahead of time, but I do appreciate everybody who's still here. We're going to read some super chats. There's a few more that we haven't got to, so I want to read some of those. And I also need to get to what Bowman538 wanted me to pull up. Storm the Cat throws in $3 and says, it is ironic how liberals used to support animal rights, but now they support literally abusing them like this. Yeah, well, because the whole reason they supported animal rights, everything, again, this is demonic possession. It was always just to move the bar, move it a little bit further, move it a little bit further, move it a little bit further, no matter what they said they were in favor of. And so, unfortunately, this is where they're at now. You're absolutely right. They literally, it's all about abusing children. Shout out to Harry Serpanos, who donated $10 and says, Byzantium Orthodoxy prevented the complete collapse and degeneracy of Europe for 1,123 years. Crusader allies destroyed the empire and dismembered it. Modern-day Orthodox people should reject unity dialogue with these degenerate people. I couldn't agree more, Harry. God bless you, brother. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat, and I could not agree more. We have to stay away from this stuff. We cannot promote it. We cannot be around it. We cannot give it lip service or like Donald Trump Jr. Well, don't boycott Bud Light. They give 60% of their donations to the GOP and only 40% to the DNC. Shut up. Shut up, dude. And I recommend you guys going and watching Mark Dice's video he did on that. He does a great job of humiliating Donald Trump Jr. What an idiot. That guy's an absolute idiot. Oh, my gosh. Anyway, I want to look up again. My buddy Boneman538 threw in a super chat earlier, a very generous super chat of $100, and told me to look up 18 SSC 24/7. Okay, let's see what that is. Okay, let's see what this is. So he says, look up 18 USC 24/7. According to 18 USC 24/7, individuals can be charged with damage to religious property or obstruction of persons in the free exercise of their religious beliefs. And he says, look up at CFR 72.11. Carrier vessel, vehicle, or aircraft seized under 49 USC Chapter 11 having been used to transport, carry, or conceal a contraband firearm or contraband cigarettes, vessels, vehicles, or aircraft seized under their provisions of acceptable law shall be considered personal property. What's this say? So if crimes are committed according to CFR 7211, that means the crime is a business transaction, does it not? Let's see. I guess this is the top answer. This definition section applies only to the part where the federal regulation dealing with the disposition of seized personal property. When the phrase commercial crimes comes up in section 27, part 72, that's what it means. But elsewhere, this definition does not apply. And so it looks like what Bone Man was wanting us to look at is some of the legalese behind all this stuff. And, you know, if you're not aware, yeah, he says exactly. Bone Man says it's all business. It's true. It's true. It's absolutely true. All crimes. So he's again, Bone Man said, look up 18 USC 24/7 religious real property and CFR 7211. He said all crimes are commercial and have a set-off settlement closure value for consideration, and your Pope thinks you are religious property. Stop being a chattel, mortgage, and pray. Ooh. Dude, shout out to Bone Man. Again, Bone Man 538, thank you so much, brother, for the support. I truly, truly do appreciate it. You've been very gracious to me today and wish you nothing but the best. But man, we are. And that's where you can get into maritime admiralty law. For those of you who don't know, you know, this really gets into some murky water for those who aren't familiar, but legalese, maritime admiralty law, looking up the all capitalized name, there's some real murky business going on behind the scenes in regards to the ways our laws work, the ways our court systems work. It's again, this is where you can dive into free man on the land, the sovereignty movement, stuff like that. I'm no expert on it. I am aware of it, but you know, this is stuff we got to went into tonight. It's wild. Again, shout out to Bone Man. He says, I went in tonight. I love you, bro. I love you, bro. Thank you so much for the support, man. I truly do appreciate it. Truly do appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thank you for all the support. Oh, man. So, again, special shout out to all the super chatters. Special shout out to Sung Kim for becoming a member and then gifting 5 members today. My 5 memberships here to the website. So major shout out to my friend Sung Kim. Blessed Pascha to you. Major shout out to Storm the Cat. Major shout out to, of course, Bone Man 538. Thank you so very much, Bone Man 538. You are the man. You are the man. Thank you so much for Philip Hansen for becoming a member tonight. Shout out to you, Philip Hansen. Sorry, when things were popping off there during the monologue, I wasn't able to, you know, tell everybody thank you so much for becoming members. But shout out to you, Philip Hansen. Thank you so much. Shout out to John Pro out there. Again, if you're not if you're not following him or you need an icon, make sure you go find my buddy John Pro. He says, yeah, it's a rabbit hole. The sovereign citizen movement is all about it. Exactly. Bowman says, let's be the true word. Amen to that. Yeah, I know what you're saying there. We're the creditors, not the debtors. That's because we're actually made in the image of God. That's what they're trying to imprison. That's a whole nother thing, though. Shout out to 2-Bit Podcast for your super chats tonight, brother. Thank you so much, 2-Bit Podcast, for your support. I truly do appreciate it. A very special shout out goes out to Frankie D. Shout out to Frankie D for the support tonight. Yeah, John Pro says we in this mess because the United States has always been about mammon first and foremost. It's true. That's absolutely true. It has been. And that's exactly, it's the transgression of God's laws. Christ is risen. American Frog 32 throws in $2. And truly he is risen, brother. Truly he is risen. Glory to God in the highest. Again, we are celebrating the defeat of death. Christ defeated death. Shout out to everybody who is celebrating Pascha today. And, you know, I had a wonderful service last night at my church. I think I got home around 3 a.m. We started ours at 10 p.m. the night before. And so we had a great time at church. Again, shout out to you, American Frog 32. Thank you so much, man, for the support. Thank you for the super chat. Truly, he is risen, my man. Truly, he is risen. I tell you, the only thing that gives me solace in like doing streams like this on these, again, incredibly degenerate topics, what gives me solace is my orthodoxy, is my faith. It's praying. It's being a follower of Christ and trying to be a conduit of God to the best of my abilities, although I'm the chief of sinners, as we all are. And so it's such a difficult thing to do. But, you know, if you're not Christian, I don't know how anybody deals with all this degeneracy in our society. It's only the fact that we have Christ and that reality that we can, not be consumed. Whoa, shout out to Bone Man 538 throws in another $100 super chat. Woohoo! Man, Bone Man 538, thank you, bro. You've been incredibly generous tonight, my man. Thank you very, 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 very much. Jeez. Woo! Bowman 538 throws in another $100 super chat, and he says, "For the Lord your God will bless you as he has promised, and you will lend to many nations, but will borrow from none." Ooh, you will rule over many nations, but none will rule over you. Glory to God, brother. Thank you so much. Boneman 538. Thank you so very much, brother, for your incredibly generous super chat. You've been incredibly generous to me tonight, man. And I truly, truly, truly do appreciate it. Wow. Yes, exactly. Dagan McCluskey saying Bowman doing the most out here. He sure is, man. Thank you so much, man. Shout out to Boneman 538. God bless you, bro. Blessed Pascha to you, and God bless you and your family, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, exactly. Shout out to, again, my brother, Thomas Henderson. God bless you, man. God bless. God bless Thomas Henry. Said that's a very generous Bowman 538. It is. And I love this. Jonathan Jester says, Bone Man, Spirit Man. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. Oh, man. Thank you so much. Yeah. Bone Man going to give us all lifetime subscriptions. I hope. Oh, man. Shout out to Dr. Crispy. Thanks for being here. Thanks for everybody who's still here, guys. Smash that like. Again, I just want to give everybody still a special shout out. Special shout out again to Bone Man 538. He says, get a burger, bro. I will definitely be able to afford a burger now. Thank you very, very much. Special shout out to American Frog 32. Special shout out to Harry Serpanos. Thank you so much, brother, for your $10 super chat. And I agree. Byzantium was the bulwark against the degeneracy that eventually infiltrated Europe. Shout out to Dork Lord and a Tutu. Thanks so much. Stay safe down there in New Zealand. Again, a very special shout out to Frankie D and my buddy Jared Fetzer. God bless you and the family, Jared. Hope you are doing well. Shout out to, again, Jonathan Jester. God bless you, brother. Shout out to Thelema Theo for your super chat. Shout out to, again, 2-Bit Podcast. Shout out to King of Hellas. And that looks like that is everybody. Again, thank you so much. Make sure you guys hit up John Pro if you guys need an icon. Help my buddy. Yeah, Theor says go buy some new threads, DPH. Well, thank you. I know I look like I'm homeless, but I do appreciate Theoria Zone. Kidding. Thank you so much, Theoria Zone, for again just being part of the community and helping out in the chat. Really do appreciate it. And again, thank you for everybody. Jason Linzen says, how could I become a part of the Orthodox Church and which book should I read? Well, all you need to do is buy the Orthodox Study Bible, which I would highly recommend. And all you need to do is go find go on your search engine and look up the closest Orthodox parish to where you live and go check it out. There's no pressure. Yeah, exactly. Go help my brother out. John Pro Art on Insta. Go find him. But yeah, Jason Linson says, how can I become part of the Orthodox Church and which book should I read? Just read the Orthodox Study Bible. Read the footnotes. Reread the Bible and read the footnotes so you can reinterpret the tradition, scripture, God's word, God's revelation within the correct phronema, the correct mindset, the correct perspective, if you will. And that'll do wonders for you, brother. And so all you need to do is get the Orthodox Study Bible and just, just go to a church. Just check out a church. Go to a church and let me know what you think, man. I'm sure it'll go really well. So God bless you. And Bone Man, in regards to gifting everybody subscriptions, he says, I will gift them soon. Thank you so much, Bone Man. Truly do appreciate it, brother. God bless you, man. You have been the most generous person to me and my work, and I couldn't appreciate it more. God bless you. Everybody, make sure you go check out John Pro Art. And I will be back again Tuesday night with the great and powerful Rachel Wilson. And we'll be talking about the erasure of women, erasing women from the world, and how the trans movement, how the LGBTQ movement, and how, again, the role of the patriarchy and the role of traditional masculinity, how it plays in protecting the erasing of women. So I will be back Tuesday night. And don't forget, Father Peter Hears will be here Wednesday evening to do a stream on the Orthodox perspective on transhumanism. And Friday evening is going to be a stream on an in-depth discussion of Rosicrucianism. So that's all coming up this week. We got a jam-packed stream list this week. So again, special thank you to everybody who donated, especially Bone Man 538. Thank you so much, bro. And a very special shout out to John D and everybody. Frankie D. Shout out to Frankie D and everybody else who donated. God bless you all. And I will see you Tuesday night. Until then, as always, God bless.